Best small game, which I mean, you can throw in whatever qualifier you need for it to fit small game. We used to say non-AAA. That's a little vague as well because you'll have these AA games like Evil West from last year that you're like, well, what does that fall into? Is that a indie or small game? Like, well, maybe. So anyway, I'm considering them small games that clearly have a smaller budget or team, even if they're owned by a big publisher. You know, Ubisoft and EA have been known to publish some really cool indie vibe or small budget, small team games that I think they kind of make sense when you match them up against each other. What's weird is when you have a year where you're trying to argue something like Dead Cells against what year did that come out? Like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like that's kind of a weird thing to try to figure out which game was. Right. I think there was about 2018 games. Like you're right. So yeah, those are a little tough. So it's good to have a category where they can just really shine. So that's what this is for. So what we'll do, last week we kind of just went in order and each picked one, but instead I'm just going to start scrolling real slowly. I'm just going to look through the list and just shout them out. We're going to see if chaos works a little better than taking turns and forcing you to pick one. And then we'll just try to bring over stuff that we want. Hey, this is at least we want to give it a shout out or an honorable mention of some kind, right? So we'll start at the top and work our way down. I'm going to start by throwing AEW over because that
did my job for me. Thank you.
That game was super fun. Yeah, that game was super fun.
I also wanted to shout out. I don't think I want to move these over. I don't know about Highland Song moving that. Okay, yeah, let's move it over. Why not?
Yeah, let's move it over.
And 9 Years of Shadows. I had fun with that game. Don't move it over though. It's fun. But
it's got sevens. It's in the sevens.
That's about where it belongs.
9 Years of Shadows.
9 years of sevens.
Should be 7 Years of Shadows based on Paul. Just kidding. I'm gonna move over After Image. I only play a little bit of it, but it is really cool. It's worth shouting out a little bit. You know, we're not doing a most disappointed category unless someone decides to do that on their own. I might have my own little most disappointed list, but this would probably be on there. I think a lot of people were hoping this could be a little dark horse for
Atlas Fallen.
A solid game from a little studio, and it just, from all accounts, I never tried it because it sounded so bad. All accounts, it was really bad.
Yeah, I pulled a ripcord on that purchase, and usually I don't do that. Usually I'm pretty sure when I'm buying something, and this is one of those. And then I was just like, nope.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm gonna save a little money, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move over Bang on Balls Chronicles, and I'm not kidding, you guys. I gotta talk about that game at least for a second, even if it doesn't go. You gotta hear. It's really interesting. We didn't get into Blasphemous 2.
I'm not
played the first one either. Yeah,
I'm rarely in the mood to play those games.
It's good though, right?
It's good though. It's good for what it is.
At least deserves an honorable mention.
Yeah, it should be in the moved over just for that.
You should all feel shame for not playing Bomb Rush.
I know. I really want to play that game, but I'm not
so much money. Yeah,
it's got like this Jet Set Radio.
I don't think it's too expensive, to be honest. I just personally don't want to spend that much money on it.
Yeah, that's totally
fair. I think it's like 40 or 30, and I'm still like, I don't know, bro.
Yeah. I think Bramble, the Mountain King, and Chance of Sonar both have to come, at least for consideration.
Those are great. Those are great.
Hey, I played Clash Artifacts of Chaos a little bit, and you look like a weird penis man, and it's hard to recommend that one.
That's a penis. Yeah,
it really looks like Penis Man. Like you go look at the screenshots of that game. Yeah,
just for that we should carry it over, right? Penis Man.
Yeah, it's not a great game. I didn't get super far, and I was like, I can't keep looking at this character. It's a third-person action adventure.
Mention.
So you keep looking at it. Honorable member.
I felt kind of flaccid about the game, so I didn't get it.
There we go. Here are the penis jokes. Here we go, guys. We're kicking them off now, everybody.
There
right
we
here.
Go.
Maybe if it were on a floppy disk, I'd play it.
Yeah, all right.
I'm feeling pretty limp
something about the hard drive. Let's just
Jesus.
keep going. Something about the hard drive. Let's keep going.
something, the boner drug. I don't know.
Queeners.
Like Michael Scott when he's trying to think of a joke, he's like,
He's when he has the list of like all the innuendos, and they're like, how does that even work there?
Yes, the sticky note of like,
yeah.
I'm bringing.
Don't put your mouth on that. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Do you just have a list of these? So funny.
No.
You move Convergence over. Yes, I
moved Convergence over.
Definitely.
Curse of the Sea Rats was another disappointing one from gameplay perspective, at least, because it looked good. It looked really, but it just.
Crime O'Clock was stupid. I'll just say it. It was dumb.
That's fair. I'm bringing Dave the Diver over.
Yeah, I hear so many people talk so highly about Darkest Dungeon 2, but none
So
of
do
us
I.
are playing it. So
I
that's another
like-
whoopsie daisy.
That's
I
another.
really
Oopsie-daisy,
liked the first one. I played a
Same.
good amount of the first one, just not the
Played like
second
60
one.
Yeah, I played like 60 hours of the first one. I just never got around to this one for whatever reason.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah, one of
shame.
our podcast listeners back in the day actually made like our whole podcast crew and others from the group in their Darkest Dungeon playthrough, like named us and everything.
Oh, that's
I-
always
really?
fun. I like to
And
do
it
that in
like
these games,
added
yeah.
like depth to it as the characters died off. He was like, "Whoops, there goes Dan."
I don't even remember that happening. I died.
Because you're
When
dead.
did that
Yeah, that's
happen?
why.
Oh man.
Okay.
I liked not Move It Over liked it, but I liked Deliver Us from Mars. What I played of it, it is a little bit simplistic and I don't know, but it's okay. It's pretty good.
I didn't play the Double Dragon Gaiden game.
This is the first Double Dragon I've ever skipped, and I didn't mean
Yeah, I
to. I just didn't hear great things about it.
It was an accident, yeah.
I'm gonna bring over Dredge and El Paso Elsewhere.
Please,
Good call.
Thank you.
We've talked about those. I can't remember if I played El Durand. It rings a bell though. Now I'm blanking out on what that game
If
actually
Fate
is.
Samurai Remnant counts, bring that bad boy over. Yeah.
Fate Samurai Remnant. Is that a
Oh,
small
yeah.
game?
I wouldn't say so, but if it's on here,
Yeah?
I'll figure it over. It's a
Alright.
Koei
That's that,
Tecmo game, so like
that's
it's
that
like, it'd be like
anime-looking
calling
game?
a Muso game.
Is it?
Yeah.
Does that kind of have indie vibes to it? Would you
No,
say?
not at
oh,
all. I would leave it. I would take it off. But this is a
Maybe
good
it just
chance for me to
shouldn't
go, hey, that
shouldn't
game
be
is
on
really
here.
fun. Nah.
Okay. I remember you guys talking about that a couple months
It's
ago.
fun. Yeah, it's a really fun game. But yeah, it would be like saying Warriors or Muso game
Fort-
is an indie game.
Fort
yeah.
Solis probably shouldn't be on here
Right.
either, right? Isn't that like high production values, even though it didn't review well?
Yeah,
No.
great cast, and
Oh, I think you might be right about that. Yeah.
I think that would also be considered a disappointment.
I think you're
as
right.
well.
Yeah.
You're right.
Just with the pedigree and everything.
Okay, let's keep going here.
Goodbye Volcano
Goodbye
High guy. I
Volcano
know
High.
one of y'all played it.
I
know
didn't play
one of you
Goodbye
guys
Volcano
played it.
High.
No,
Nah.
I did not. Get really defensive
Jeff?
for no reason. No,
Talk
I
about-
did not.
Come on, Jeff.
Guys, stop looking at me.
Nice.
Sorry.
Keep
I like
going.
Gunbrella a lot. Gunbrella should
Yeah,
be
I
over there.
remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. Guilt was pretty good too, also, but like it was
Never
like
played it.
okay. It was
Okay.
it was pretty good.
I've been calling that Jilt this entire time. So that's
All right,
funny.
Humanity. Well, at least talk about it because it is very
Yeah.
good and reviewed really well. But
Have a
I'm
Nice
just
Death is quite
up?
good. I played it on PC last year though, so I don't know how that works.
Okay. Well, let's just leave it. I mean, we probably won't make our top 10 just because
Yeah,
of that.
screw it. Why not? All right.
Okay.
You liked was it Last Train Home that you talked about that came out like
yeah, I do like that
December?
one. Yeah, that one's really cool. Okay, let's keep going here. Miasma Chronicles. Did any of you end up playing this one?
Miasma.
It's like
No.
on the
It's
on the
on
wish
sale right
list.
now, I think, for like half off. But, yeah.
I need an
you're right.
inhaler because miasma's acting up.
Good
There
one.
we go.
Good
That's
one.
good.
Stupid. Stupid. It was the worst. Nope. I'm
I
done.
played
making
some
jokes.
Mr. Run and Jump. It's not great, not worth highlighting. Hey, Jeff, you like Oxenfree too. Let's bring that
I
one
did.
over.
Quite a bit.
And-
Yeah.
Planet of Lana. We'll move that. one.
Lana. Yeah.
Tramana. Let's see.
Quantum Error might be a in the
One of the
discussion for
worst.
big disappointment too. Yeah.
People hate that game so much.
People
I
were
never
like,
tried it.
"Oh, cool, could be like another Dead Space," and then it was
Ooh.
ass. Apparently.
Little Sea of Stars, guys.
Heck yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
Shout
The
out
darn
Gambit.
tootin'.
Did anyone actually play Scars Above? I felt like I was excited for
Yeah,
that one.
I
And
played
then
the demo and I
Played the demo
did buy
too.
the game because the demo was so impressive, but I haven't touched it yet.
the reviews weren't like amazing, I guess. but,
No,
like,
it was in the high 60s, low 70s, somewhere in there.
yeah, yeah.
Jeff, I'm right there with you. I played the demo as well. I was like, this is kind of fun. This could be
Okay.
good. And
Yeah.
then it was on a really steep sale. I think it was a Thanksgiving sale where I bought it. And I had every intention to play it before these conversations for this purpose.
yeah.
But I did not. I did not
Yeah.
play it.
It's like
Did
Returnal,
not.
kind of, right? Like the aesthetic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aesthetically,
I'm thinking-
yes.
I'm thinking of the right
Yes.
one.
And-
Yeah,
and
not
kind of-
gameplay wise, but aesthetic.
And
yeah.
kind of the
Yes.
loop of what you're doing, like dying and coming back and doing it again, stuff like
Oh,
that. Yeah.
there's a thing there. Okay.
Slay the Princess, I would move that over for sure. It's like a 2-man team.
I hear so many good things about this.
It's quite good, but it is, it's got the limitations of being like a graphic novel. So
I'll leave Song,
Visual
Song of
novel.
Nunu over here. There's other League of Legends games that are more deserving to come over.
I agree.
More like Song of No, am I right?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah,
That's-
you are right.
That's
You are
true, dude.
Sorry.
That deserves
Dan, I
a
lose
yes.
track of which of these games you guys like. Did you like A Wonderful Life, the story of season?
I think that was a remake of an older one, so we
Was
didn't even I didn't even play that one.
Okay.
Do you like the series though, Dan? Are you-
Yeah, no, the
Series
story's
guy?
even,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because those are the actual Harvest Moons. If you
right, yeah, they lost like the ability to call them that or something. I forget
I'll bring
what the
Talos Principle 2
Talos
over.
Principle 2, baby. Straight
I'll
Lights
bring-
is pretty good. Not worth moving over, but pretty good.
This one, another one that I played just like the demo for or whatever. I don't know if it was a demo or what it was, but I remember playing it a little bit. I'm curious about it. I don't know enough about it to really fight for
If
or
any
against
of
it.
us
Same with Last
also-
Faith. I didn't play enough of it.
Also, if any of us were into what Stray Gods was offering as a role-playing musical, I feel like we'd be defending it a lot more. But there's
Some
just
people love it. Some people hate it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Role-playing music.
It's straight up a musical, and it's like a Telltale type experience. It just wasn't for me. The music wasn't very good. Like I like the cast a lot, but I don't know.
That's important. I mean,
yeah, it's very important if you're going to call yourself a role-playing musical. Yeah.
I want to move over to Mage Seeker.
Yeah, Mage Seeker.
All
right, this is a weird one because it's obviously by Square, a big old company with lots of money. Theatrhythm Final Bar line, but it does have elements of feeling indie, but I don't think that counts. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I was gonna say I would think it fits because it is a small project, small team.
That's true.
And that's what we defined as this category. So
yeah, that's fair.
We'll at least give it an honorable mention, even if we don't end up moving it in for that. Like just because it's by a big company, maybe we give other
spoilers. I love that game, and somehow Jeff loved it more. So
right,
yeah,
that was one of my bigger surprises of the year. I mean, Jeff loved that and Octopath Traveler 2.
Every time I was like, I'm the big fan of this game. Jeff was like, I just put another 10 hours in that game last night. I'm like, what?
What?
Or,
I love so much that Jeff loved it.
Yeah,
I think we should move over Thirsty Suitors, but it's not going to go much further because I played the demo and it's just really funny. Scott Pilgrim-y, it's really cool.
You said good things about that one.
Yeah.
I played some Tin Hearts. I recommend giving it a shot if you like Lemmings and Humanity, but Humanity is a better Lemmings-like, so I'll leave it here. I heard Tiny Thor is a good time. I just never tried it.
I prefer Big Thor.
I'm bringing over Trinity Fusion. That game is a blast.
Yeah. Trine
at the very least,
Trine 5. Yeah.
Yeah, that game rules, dude. That game is so good.
Turbo Overkill. Oh,
man,
fun.
I still got to play that. I've heard so many people talk about that outside of this podcast too.
Yeah, Turbo Overkill's great.
Ugly's really good.
Only played the demo.
Yeah, that's all I played too, but it's really good. I mean, I guess we should just be like, hey guys, we mentioned it. Now get off.
We'll play Under the Waves probably when there's some sort of lull this year. I'll probably play Under the Waves and be like, hey, why didn't any of you tell me about this game? It's so good. That's probably.
I played like the first hour and I was just so glitchy at launch that I was like, I'll wait, and I think they've patched it since then.
That's good.
Valvirus looks like a game that Tenacious D would make. It's got like this pixelated heavy metal look to it. But I never played it.
Is this a sequel? Or I feel like I recognize that name. Okay.
It's
a Metroidvania, I think.
It is.
And I think people really
the
like
one
that
before that was, but I think this one's more like a shmup now, which is weird.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, the
which
one before
I skipped.
Did they do that?
This
okay.
one's a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, because I liked the other one because it kind of reminded me of like Contra a bit.
I've never heard it abbreviated to shmup. That completely.
People do that.
Shmup.
Yeah, shmup. Which
it's kind of shmuppy, you know.
Hey, quit acting shmuppy over there, all right? Quit acting shmuppy.
Hey.
But I didn't like that jump to I didn't care for that because I don't know.
I have Vernal Edge installed because it's
here.
got such good reviews. I played like a 5 minutes of it, and then I had to there was family stuff. I was like, all right, I'll log back in and play later, and I didn't. I logged back in and played something else. So I have a problem. I need to play the games that I've purchased. So I want to play it. It's reviewed so well, but I can't fight for or against it for that matter. But I've heard Vernal Edge.
This is the season of buying games and not playing them. So
it absolutely is,
man.
Dan got me to buy World of Final Fantasy because he pitched it so well, and I've yet to start it.
You're not
just whatever.
I mean, maybe eventually, buddy. You got it on sale.
I'm excited, man. I'm
gonna bring over Wargroove 2 and Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun.
I didn't know you played Wargroove 2. I'm interested to hear about that one. Okay.
I did play some of that one.
I really like the first one a lot.
Witchfire deserves some attention, even though. I think it needs a lot of work and balancing before it's an excellent game, but it's really cool.
Viewfinder, I think, deserves a mention at least.
Viewfinder, okay, yeah.
That's a really solid concept and executed really well.
Wizard with the Gun was fun.
That was fun.
Okay,
it's fun demo. That's all I got, though. I think I bought it too, and it's a problem, guys.
Worldless is interesting. It's got that. It's trying to be a little Ori-like. You're like this disembodied star that's running around,
celestial being.
Yeah, kind of cool. So I recommend giving Wizard with the Gun a shot, Worldless a shot. Vernal Edge. I just don't know that we can really discuss them in depth because we haven't really played them enough.
WrestleQuest, I think the demo I didn't really care for, and then the reviews were kind of like okay. That I don't think any of us bought it.
I think they've been improving it, so I have high.
I've heard
that's
that
going to
too.
be fun.
Yeah,
just not something that I'm digging at the moment. Okay,
That's a
so
shame.
that moves us over to 36. That's not bad because some of these we were just giving a shout out anyway. So I don't think it's going to be too hard to keep some of them up.
Yeah,
like,
there's still some obvious front runners in here for sure.
Yeah, as we've done in the past, we'll kind of leave ones towards the top that we know are going to stay in consideration. So I think a Highland song is likely to stay there, right, Jeff?
I would move over others before that one and see where we're at.
Okay.
Personally, I don't know how you feel about the game, or
it's really pretty. It's very nice.
Yeah.
There's easily 10 games that I have.
Yes, same here. Same here, absolutely.
So if we're not going to fight for it, nobody.
Let's work with those. Let's work with that kid.
All right, I'm going to skip AEW for now because I feel like that one has a chance to make it somewhere on there, possibly. And if not, we'll talk about it a little more. I just want to quickly mention Bang on Balls Chronicles because I think it's going to stay over here.
I just love this title so much.
This is a real game. You guys will see a Let's Play that I record. It's like a 50-minute thing of the opening level up to through the first boss.
There's a boss in this kind of game. Wow.
It's so fun. I'm not kidding. It is an open world, like not fully destructive, but mostly destructive environment. You can open world go and explore. It's not massive, but you can go and explore. You have this dash attack that you do and you put on silly outfits. You're literally a little blob and you're bouncing around. Think like the Blob. Remember the paint games with the Blob?
Yep.
Think like that style of character and movement, but it's super colorful already. And it's a full-on 3D adventure platforming
so
game.
wild.
It's so fun. It's so silly. It's not like this is not a 10 out of 10 game of the year, but it is certainly like why is this so fun? I've never heard of it. And why is it called this? But because it's a bunch of blobby balls that are literally banging against each other. That's exactly what's happening.
Question, what was the game with the penis man? Because we should just merge these two games together.
Chaos.
Oh yeah.
Chaos balls.
It'll make an absolute unit of a game, if you will.
So I'm gonna leave it over here just because I only played that opening section. But please go check out our YouTube channel. Let's Play for that. That'll come out next week. You'll be able to see that. Really funny, really fun little game too. And it's fun to support a smaller dev. As soon as I saw it and I watched some of their behind the scenes stuff and how their team's so excited and like seeing feedback, there was something about the small team that was so excited. I was like, all right, I'm gonna buy this game. There was something about that just clicked with me. So.
It's more endearing when they're enthusiastic because it's like, there's like one to like, small number of people making these games. It's just like, that's really nice. They're happy. Yeah. I like that.
It's very, very silly little game. They put balls in the title. That was very bold. And they did it.
Yeah. Bold.
They did it.
Bold.
Okay, what else do we think is likely to stay over here that we don't have to spend too much time?
To stay in this column. Okay, yeah. I get what you're saying now.
Have a Nice Death probably staying over here.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that game's cool looking though. It's got a great visual vibe.
Totally missed you moving Jusant over. Thank you for doing that. I totally missed that. That's good though. That is here. Yeah. Maybe Humanity. I don't think it's going to move over.
I don't think so. I just want to say this though. I think Humanity is creatively. I'm going to sound super pretentious for saying this. I think creatively it's a pretty bold game. They did a really cool job with this game. Like I think the visuals, the concept of it, and the music, it's all really like they're taking a big swing. And I think they did a good job. I think if you there's not a whole lot of people who think the game is just fine. There's a lot of people who love this game. Yeah. And I think it's great.
I loved what I played of it, but as soon as I hit a wall, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
It's a 3D Lemmings game where you have to direct these crowds of people through the levels, and it gets pretty complex pretty quick. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be on our top 10 for a small game either. Okay, let's keep going here. I think let's see what else is. SteamWorld Build won't stay over here. I just wanted to shout it out. Really fun little city builder. Reminds me a lot of the Anno series from Ubisoft. With the way that they have their world set up. Plus, I find the SteamWorld universe just endearing and nice.
Because I don't think any of us played it except for me for like an hour. Blasphemous 2.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna move
Some
over.
folks love that combat though, right? People think that.
Yeah,
like
they
me
do.
right
Yeah,
now,
it's for what it's doing. I think people love it for sure.
This is
It's
one
kind
I've
of like
always wanted.
Humanity.
I've always wanted to check this series out, and I just
Yeah.
for whatever it's on sale all the time. That first one,
It is,
and I've just
yeah.
never pulled the trigger. Yeah.
And isn't
It's
that
kinda-
published by a bigger group?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
So like that's where I could be wrong, but anyway, regardless, there's something with the indie title that people get all thrown off by. But this is a perfect game for this.
People that you mentioned Humanity, people that played it love it. It's the same thing for this game. Like the
For
feelings
Blasphemous
are
2,
identical. Yeah.
Agreed.
You're not going to find
People
anybody
do
going.
love their
"It's fine,
souls, yeah.
it's okay."
Yep.
Like their Souls games. So.
They do indeed. Okay.
Thirsty Suitors you can keep on the consideration column. We are not moving that over. I just think that game was way better than I thought it would be.
But it's a little bit about like, isn't it like your love interest battling it out, sort of?
Yeah. You're you break up with somebody and you move back home, and everybody that sees you, well, not everybody, but all of your like former lovers and stuff like that, or potential suitors, I guess, are all vying for your attention, and you're fighting against each other.
So Scott
It's a horny RPG, right?
Yeah, it's Scott Pilgrim basically. Your conversations turn into turn-based fights, and they're very funny. They're very.
It's a horny RPG, right? Isn't that basically?
Not really.
No, it's not a horny RPG.
Well, I mean, I guess there's some horniness to it because sometimes the people you're fighting are more thirsty than you. Thirsty.
I was gonna say it says thirsty, so there's got to be some element of horniness to it
thirsty.
somewhere in there. I don't know that Ugly will make it. It's a cool concept, but I don't think we played it enough. But really interesting concept. It reminds me a lot of Braid.
I love the artwork on that one too.
Yeah, the artwork and the gameplay style reminds me of Braid. So if you guys haven't, make sure you check out Braid when that remaster comes out this spring too. Okay, so we took care of that one. I mean, I'll wait till Kyle comes back. We'll talk about what we think about the Square game. I'm gonna move Teardown up and leave it here. But Teardown is a very cool destruction simulator. It's got that weird combination of pixelated Minecraft graphics and yet still super realistic physics and lighting at times. Like, it's really, really interesting visual combo they have there. And it's just fun to literally tear things down. So that game is a good time. And it's on PlayStation Plus if you've got.
I would keep Viewfinder over here. I was just moving it over to mention it.
Yeah. I only played the demo. So
yeah, I just played the demo too, and then of course, like Humanity, if it got too difficult, I just bailed. And that happened pretty quickly for me. Like, just conceptually though, like the artwork and all that stuff, like they just much like Humanity.
The idea of like taking a
it.
picture and then like moving to a new spot in the level, placing the picture there, and now you can walk into it and it's create a new platform, a new path, and all that. Very interesting.
So insane. I can't believe that's where we are with indie games of all things. You know?
Yeah, that was some kind of crazy engine at work.
Yeah.
For that one. Okay, so Shadow Gambit is likely to stay here. Really cool little pirate game. I highly recommend it. It's like a strategy stealth combination. They put great work into it. Last week, if you listened to that episode, we talked about the music. The music in that game is stellar. So give Shadow Gambit a look if you like strategy.
I have the demo downloaded. It's a massive file too. Let me tell you, it's like 30-some gigs. Yeah.
I think with all the music and the voice work and some of the visuals, like it's actually surprisingly.
Oh, is it fully voice acted?
Not fully, but yes, there's elements of it that are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like
I didn't
here's
expect
some
that.
voice acting, and then it'll just be a bunch of written text for a while.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Let's see, what else do we have that we can keep here? I'm gonna leave Witchfire here. So Witchfire is a super cool game by the folks who made The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Really cool visuals, great concept, but boy, that game is tough. I think it needs some balancing and some work still. It is technically in early access on Epic Games.
I was going to say, is this still in early access? Or?
It is, and
it's only PC. Like, obviously, it's only PC. Okay,
it's only PC. I think this game has a lot of potential and could be something that we talk about down the road. Of like, man, they really have.
I think you and I share a lot of enthusiasm for this game, but like I don't have a PC that can run this well enough. So I do hope, like you do, like that this game shapes up. You know, as it.
I think it will.
Just full launch. You know.
Yeah, I think it will. So that's cool.
I think I've just checked my own personal top 10 for this category, and I didn't realize I didn't have it in there. But Trine 5 will stay here because I didn't put it in my 10, and I'm the one that liked it the most, and I did like this game a lot.
But some of the best like co-op, side-scrolling, magic, action puzzles. It's so fun.
Yeah, and I like the cartoon art style. It's kind of like cartoony. And everybody's powers are super fun to use. So such a cool game.
Okay. So that's good. We've trimmed it down quite a bit. Good so far.
I'm proud of us. We did it, guys. We're done. We're done.
Done.
We're
Yeah.
totally
We'll see you next
done.
week.
Yeah, there's not like 20 games we still have to
Yeah.
narrow down. All right, so now that we've got them all on one screen, let's start to throw out ones that we think definitely need to be on here. And it's kind of the thing we've done before where we might end up moving over like 13 and then kick a few back off. But like, Dan, what's one that you think we should have over there for sure, Dan?
So, fun fact.
Please say the one I want you to say.
I'm contributing literally nothing overall because I only played one game in this entire thing.
Oh
and
my
that's Sea of
God,
I'm
Stars.
with you. I
Are
have
you a
like
gamer?
five.
What is
I have like
happening?
5 games I played from this, so I'll be leaning on everybody
pretty
else
good.
really hard. So
5's pretty good, but
5's
So
okay.
Sea of
It's not
Stars.
great.
It's not, yeah.
Sea of Stars.
We had like
It was
40
not a-
games. We had 40 games on this consideration list at first, and I played 5,
Yeah.
so it's bad.
I basically played barely any small games this year. Apparently,
I feel like
all
the
of
two boat. I
it's
feel like the 2
embarrassing.
boat games got to come over, right?
Embarrassing.
So I will
Both
say
games.
this: all these, well, to a certain extent, because I haven't played all of them, but many of these, I'm like, even though they're not in our top 10, I recommend giving them a look. Like they are really
Yeah.
fun, really silly. They're a good time. I agree, Kyle, that Dredge should
Dredge,
certainly come
yeah.
over.
What's the other boat? Oh, you talking Dave,
Dave
the Diver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Diver's going to
Both
be over
boats.
Dave
here.
the Diver.
Cocoon has to be in here for sure.
Cocoon's got to be over here.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. Planet of Lana, we fought for that pretty hard.
I like Bramble a lot, guys, and it sounds like y'all two
I
did
think-
as well. So I feel like
I did
was-
too. I'm glad you played that, man.
I, feel like
I
that's
did not.
gotta-
expect
I,
that
w-
to
I
be-
wish I'd beaten it, but like I played quite a bit of it, and I like it quite
It's
a bit.
so good. Now, as an overall video game, I think Bramble is far superior to Planet of Lana, personally.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So, but
Convergence is even better than Planet of Lana.
But y'all like Planet a lot. I feel like that got brought up a lot. So I mean, like, is that not?
I
for
love
sure?
the music for it, and it's a sweet story. But there are times of the gameplay that I was like, "All right, just give me the next little section." Like, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Can we move
Oh,
on, please? Can we move on?
I don't know. I'm the only one that's going to be vouching for it, but Talos Principle 2 would be a weird list without it.
I feel like you got to bring it over. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Bring it
like
over.
I feel like everybody's talking about how good this game is. Who
God,
actually
it's
plays
Dan's
it.
not going to fight you
incredible.
on it
it's so
Dan's not
incredible.
gonna fight
What's that?
for Talos Principle 2. I mean, just because he hasn't played any of these except for the one. Sea of Stars.
Right, except for the Steve
Go
for it.
Stars.
Go for it.
I do think I'm going to just grab 3 that I think need to at least be considered. The Mage Seeker, I think, needs to be considered. I think Turbo Overkill, which might be a tough one because I might be the only one who's played it.
Yeah, I think
Bolt
you
gun
are.
for sure.
And
Bring over
Bolt Gun.
Bolt
yeah.
Gun, absolutely. Yeah, I love
So
that
those
game.
3, I think, need to be at least considered. I don't know if there's going to be room for them because I think we also need to bring over maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of these others. What do we think? Let's talk about Theater and Final Bar Line real quick. It certainly fits the small budget / team or indie vibes definition. So I don't want to hold it against it just because it happens to be centered around music from one of the biggest franchises. It's not.
It does feel kind of icky though, doesn't it?
It's a little weird because of that, but it's not one of those
Yeah.
games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's-
right. Yeah.
So I could
I
go
don't
either
know.
way.
I do feel like there's some stink on it to bring it over to a final 10, but like I'm also like a huge fan of this game.
Yeah, me
so-
too. So I'm
So-
like,
Yeah.
either way, I'm kind of like okay with it. You know?
Yeah. If we bring it over, like I'd be really
Let's
cheering
see if
for
there's
it.
space. Let's hang it out down here.
Okay. Hang it
let's
out.
see if there's some
Yeah.
space. I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave Wargroove 2 here because I'm the only one who's played it. But I will tell you this: if you played the first one, it's a lot more and better version of that. So it's
Okay.
really, really good. So think like everyone compares it to Fire Emblem, but it's much more like Advance Wars in terms of the
yeah,
gameplay.
I can
And
see
I won't
that.
play it.
Where you've
Okay.
got yeah, so it's really
Not
really
for me
good
then.
though. I think it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's
Yeah,
a
I'll
very
definitely
light
check it out.
very light-hearted fantasy story compared to stuff like Fire Emblem, which is usually a little bit more like serious. Like everyone's a lot more serious in those stories. Wargroove 2 is a little bit more Saturday morning cartoony, not silly, but like it's just not as serious. So anyway, very good though. I thought Wargroove 2 was great. I think Jusant deserves at least a shot to stay over here.
Sure.
I maybe not. I don't know. What do you think, Jeff? Yes, no, maybe.
Um,
Jusant.
that's really tough for me.
You're the
Oh,
only one,
man.
only other one besides me who's played.
I won't be fighting for it to be in a top 10. I really like the game though, but
Trying to
yeah.
see where I have it ranked. Let me double check. I don't
I
think I have
also-
it high.
like I
I
have
also
Slay
don't
the
think-
Princess pretty high above what's left over here.
Yeah, we need to start.
Okay.
We need to start moving Darlings over next if there's anything left over. But
Well, we
El
already
Paso,
moved one over for me. We already moved over
El
Talos
Paso
Principle
elsewhere. I
2.
just want to say is a very fun game and very unique, but like it is not a game that you should drag over for sure, but it is really something.
I agree.
Very silly game.
If you got a
I
nostalgia
don't-
for the Max Payne, early Max Payne game, please play this game.
Yeah,
I don't have Juice on my top 10. It's right outside it. So
yeah, mine's outside it too. Yeah,
it's really good though.
Okay.
It's a really
Agreed.
clever little game, very very pretty. Where do I have Planet of Lana? I've got that one.
Lana Planet.
I mean, that is barely. It's at number 10, so it's not.
Oh.
Planet?
Actually, it turns out Planet of Lana is outside my 10 too. So you and I are the games I would consider biggest defender, and
It's gonna stay over here.
it's gonna stay over here. Yeah, exactly.
Like I'd rather see us make people mad with Theatre than Final Bar Line being on there than
Right.
trying to. Because I think when it comes to storytelling and pretty music, Bramble kind of does similar things in some way and does it much better in my opinion. Even though Planet of Lana I do think is good. Okay, Chance of Sonar is cool. It has some cool concepts with like the symbols and like you're kind of deciphering a language without really having any hints outside of like, oh, that word does this, that must mean gate or something. So like it's a cool system. I just didn't play it enough to fight for it, but it is cool.
Yeah, I played it for like 2 hours, and it's not like it's a long game or anything. I got to a lot of sections. I was very surprised at how far I was able to go.
Yeah.
So it's not like the puzzles are like so crazy difficult, and there are some stealth elements to it as well, sneaking and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, the game is offers a lot more than I thought it would on its surface, but it's it's not my 10 or anything. It's just a good game, you know.
All right. So let's talk real quick about El Paso Elsewhere. I know that Kyle and Jeff were the main two who played this one. Now, last week we all jammed out to the music because that music is sweet.
Yeah,
really good.
I thought we already moved it up. I thought Kyle
we already moved
stay
it
in
up.
here. Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah, we moved it up.
But yeah, that music is dope. Go watch the short on that. We put a short up. Go watch it. It's a short.
It's
very
pretty short.
It's
trying to
short,
affect the
guys.
algorithm. Does it work?
Yeah. YouTube short YouTube.
YouTube short YouTube. El
Shorts.
Paso
Ooh,
Elsewhere.
I'm gonna leave Last Train Home over here, but hey, it's a really cool story. And if you liked those, what's that strategy game where you're doing a lot of stealth? You have a little unit of soldiers in World War II that I want to say Commandos, but I don't think that's right.
Band of Brothers? Oh, not Band of Brothers. Brothers in Arms.
Brothers in Arms is one of those, right? That's a third person kind of like stand with your unit, right? Where you're directing them.
I can't remember. Or Company of Heroes? Is that?
That's the one I'm thinking of.
That's
Company
what
of
I was
Heroes.
trying to get to, but yeah, I had to name 3 wrong things first.
It's kind of like that, but set. You're this special troop. I already talked about it before, but you're this troop trying to get home, obviously, but you're going through. Maybe it's before World War I. You're going through currently dealing with Civil War Russia, and you're not trying to get involved with either side. You're just these legionnaires trying to get through, and of course, you get pulled into the fight in various ways. So it's just a cool setup. It's made by folks from that area too, so like it's their history, so you can tell they're telling it with care. So I like that. I do recommend it, but it's gonna stay over here. I feel the same about After Image. I played it for a little bit. It's another one that's on our channel if you want to see some gameplay from that. Very cool little game, but because the combat, I've played so many games that are side-scrolling action platformers that have great combat, and this has good combat. But one of the biggest detriments is that when you dodge, you don't actually like dodge through enemies. As soon as you come in contact with them, even mid-dodge, it knocks you back. So like that might not sound like a big deal, but once you realize all you can do is dodge backwards away from enemies and then try to get back in for a hit, it actually makes the combat feel super not smooth and not very fun. So that's the knock on it. I don't need it to be over here. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it in the consideration column. So now we're down to AEW, Gunbrella, Oxenfree 2. I've got a bunch of Jeff games over here. Slay the Princess.
Me too.
This is just the
And,
Jeff category.
This is Jeff
And then we've got Trinity Fusion, which I think that's excellent. That was my favorite Swimming in Sevens game of the year. I think it's really, really good. I need to play it more because I'm still pretty early in the game.
I am
But
too.
I do think it's pretty great.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Does it need to be on our shared top 10? Not necessarily. We've got enough over here, I think, probably to argue through. So I'm okay with it staying, but I do like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot too, but I would argue for it more if I just played it more. That's probably all it is.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm looking over here and we've already got 11. And so anything else you move over is going to be trying to fight to kick something out. Like, for example, you could make an argument that we should only keep Turbo Overkill or Bolt Gun. Very similar in terms of super fast-paced, ultra bloody, pixelated first-person shooters. They're very different from each other, but they still have that same vibe. So maybe we only keep Bolt Gun since we haven't all played Turbo Overkill. So there might be space if we want to move one more thing over. So Jeff, I'll throw it to you for these 4: AEW, Gumbrella, Oxenfree 2, and Slay the Princess.
What
do you think? Which one do you want to fight for?
Surprise everybody that knows I'm a wrestling fan that Fight Forever is not in my 10 for this list. Because I don't think it's I named it for the Swimming in Sevens category, I think, last week. It's just like sometimes there's just so many glitches that are just stupid. That it's hard for me to logically put it in a 10 celebrating the best of a given category, unless it's like the best 6 out of 10 game experience, because it certainly delivers that. It gives me everything I want in terms of like a simplified wrestling game, arcadey sim type of wrestling game. The story is very silly. It's clearly Yakuza inspired, like in terms of like some of the things that they have you doing, and it's very, very silly. It's not
gonna stay here.
Yeah, it's gonna stay here. It's not a 10 contender for me.
Okay. Did you play enough of Gumbrella? I mean, I played it a little bit and thought, oh, this is cool, but I can't fight for it.
Yeah, I played like an hour or so, so it's not much more than you at all. It's really cool, though. The platforming feels way better than I thought it would for being a game where it's like your main method of going up and down is the umbrella. I didn't think that would work at all, but it really does.
Yeah, the way it works with the dash is really fun. They did.
Yeah, it's so cool. And at later levels, I watched some Let's Plays of it, and like later levels are just insane. Like just a lot of button mashing, precision timing. Like it,
Was that
it
just
very
PC
difficult.
or?
I don't know.
Gumbrella, I feel like it's on Switch.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing it and thinking it looked super.
It is
rad,
a Devolver game, right? They published it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Right.
It feels like a Devolver.
I feel like
thing.
it's on Switch, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Switch. So Switch and PC.
Okay.
Oh, nice, good. I'm glad they got it on a console somewhere.
It's definitely a good Switch type game for sure. Okay. And as we look at these other two, Slay the Princess and Oxenfree 2, and just revisiting we've moved over, I feel like these 7 are definitely in there somewhere. Could be wrong on that. I don't know if Mage Seeker is definitely in the top 10, but I might end up liking it more than Convergence once I actually finish it. I don't know. I do like it a lot. And then
I have both of the League of Legends stories in my 10. For sure.
I do too. I have Convergence a little higher than it right now. I've just played a lot more of it than Mage Seeker.
Slay the Princess, it's just another victim of not playing the story more. I would fight for it more, but like, and it certainly deserves to be fought for. If we had all played it, even though it's like it's a visual, what do you call those things? Is it visual novel games or
visual
whatever?
novel?
Yes.
Even though it is that, there's something very, very accessible about like the dialogue, and like there's voice acting in it. It's fully voice acted by just 2 people. Which makes it even more impressive because it's just people disguising their voices in different ways. It's like just incredibly well written, and it's got such a cool premise. I mean, I'm sure we would have fought for it more if any more of us had played it, and played it plenty more than just like an hour or however long I played it.
Yeah.
I love Oxenfree too, man. I don't know about.
Let's see if we find the spot for it over here.
It's definitely like I said last week. If you liked the first one, this is an improved version of that. Like how open the map is, and there's even some timey-wimey stuff going on that's really, really cool. And the way that they tie it into the first one with these seemingly disconnected, unrelated characters, it's super good. It's super good. Yeah.
Okay, well then we'll have to figure out if there's a spot for that one. 2 that I have in my list that I don't need us to include, but weren't on here for whatever reason. I think I've made this list and didn't really update it. There were other games that kind of slipped through the cracks, but I at least want to mention them as honorable mentions. Death Must Die. Super fun.
Yeah, great game.
It's a Kyle, what do they call it on GameScoop? Garlic-like?
Garlic-like, yeah.
Yeah, where it's kind of like the Vampire Survivors style game where you are upgrading and you have swarms of enemies coming in as you just have moves spinning around all like your attacks and your magic and everything just
Sure.
flying around the screen.
I know, it's so funny that like the creator of Robotron's probably sitting there going, "Why wouldn't they call it a Robotron like?" Since he's kind of like
Yeah, I
invented
know.
this whole genre. But
They're like, who are
and it's
you?
been around
Get
since
out
like
of
the
here.
80s. Yeah.
That's
This
yeah, that's
vampire guy
ridiculous.
comes in, suddenly we're naming everything after him.
In that same vein, 20 Minutes Till Dawn deserves a shout out. It's also another garlic like. Listen, I know that sometimes like a genre will hit, an out of nowhere indie will become super popular, and then a lot of other little dev teams will try to make similar versions of it. That's happening. We're seeing a lot of those, and some of them aren't great, but those two are really good, and I recommend them.
Yeah.
Death Must Die. And
I agree.
20
I played them both on your recommendation.
They're
very good.
both a good time, but they're just getting honorable mentions for this list. Okay, so we've got let's see, 12. That's not too bad. We can narrow this down. I think it's safe to say these 7 are going to be on the list somewhere. Convergence, Bramble Cocoon, Day the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, Talos Principle 2. Is Talos Principle 2 like your top one, Jeff? Like, is that the one you're like, this needs to be in here somewhere?
Yeah,
right?
it's in my top 3
Okay, all right.
of the ones that we have over there. Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one who's played Turbo Overkill?
Yeah. I've only
I
seen
certainly
gameplay
didn't
of
play
it, and so like basically I've only played the bolt gun version of that type of game, which is they're both kind of similar, but yeah,
I think
bolt gun is
that'll
the
make
only one I
things a
played.
little simpler. I'll move Turbo Overkill back off into honorable mentions, but I will say this: it might even be a better overall game than Bolt Gun, except for the fact that Bolt Gun has a great IP. Warhammer 40K is just so intriguing, and the IP is awesome, and the
True.
characters in the world and all that stuff. Turbo Overkill is a brand. It's a cyberpunk setting, which is fun, and you have chainsaws in your legs. That way, when you go sliding towards enemies, you
Chains
just
in your
suck them
legs.
up.
So
Sorry.
what?
Chains on your leg. So it's super fun, but yeah, we'll move that one over.
So what?
So that leaves us with one we have to get rid of. Between Mage Seeker, Bolt Gun, Oxen,
And depending on how our feelings on theater rhythm.
Theater Rhythm, Final Bar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I see the logic in keeping it here. Like it does feel like a really, really small game by a really obviously well-known studio.
I mean, you could turn this into a mobile game, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's a 2-button, like affair type of situation. So
Yep.
Yeah. It
Very
really
true.
is. It's true.
very minimalist.
Yep.
It's just the fact that the music has been in like huge games.
It's just it's just
Yeah.
anything like putting Final Fantasy on any list called small is just
I know.
Yeah,
it's
true.
icky. There's an ickiness to it.
Yeah. I
But
see
it
the
would give
argument there.
Dan a second game that he can talk about on the list.
Well, I mean, not really, because I barely played it. So
oh, jeez, Dan.
Are you
all right,
even
you know
a Final
what?
Fantasy fan? I don't
Dan
even
didn't play it.
I
It's
can't-
going back over here.
Jeff,
No.
name 10 songs for me, Jeff.
I don't know
Oh,
song
wow.
titles. I know that I played the
Gatekeeping,
entire
that's a
game.
tactic.
I played the entire game on 2 difficulties.
Jeff,
You
I don't
played
need to
none
play
of
this
it.
game. I know all of the songs. Okay.
He's like, I live the songs, Jeff. I live them.
Not a fan if you do.
Hey, listen, I played the demo.
Agreed.
I just didn't. I didn't feel
Okay,
I didn't like the gameplay because I liked. For me, I had explained it before. I liked the way that it worked on the DS because of the stylus, and it felt tactile, and it
Stylus
made
was great.
sense to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember you talking about this early
It's a
on before
petty-ass
any of the
reason
rest of
not
us
to play
played it. And
Yes,
you were
we're
kind of like,
taking digs.
but I remember that you were like, it's not really my thing. And then the other 3 of us played it, and we were all like, I love this. This is so
Yeah, I
good."
know.
And you were
And
like,
I
It's
love
so
that
funny
you guys
because
love
like
it.
when you
I
go
love
on the
it.
message boards, everyone who says how do I get better at this game when it was on DS, everyone was like stop using the stylus. So it's just funny to me that that's like
Yeah.
your hang up because like everybody doesn't use the
That's funny.
stylus even on the DS.
I mean, yeah, that's fun. That's funny to me.
I get it though because there is a tactile nature to it. It makes it unique and it does feel good. Yeah. I give
what
it
was
to
that other kind of rhythm-based Square game? They made a sequel to it. I don't think it sold super well. The World Ends
Oh,
with You.
Neo. The world ends with
Oh.
you.
Was that rhythm-based at all? Didn't it have some rhythm element, like tapping on the screen, like for attacks or something? I feel like it had
Yeah,
something.
something like that. Yeah, just remember everyone
Don't
saying that
remember.
was the best game ever when I bought it for DS. I go, I don't get this. So,
And then
and
they
I
made
mean
a
the combat
sequel.
specifically, so I couldn't even remind you. I think the sequel's a little more like actiony, if I'm not mistaken. But
I didn't play either one.
yeah, I think World Ends with You was like at least a tappy or a rhythm type game. So
It's very anime. Very anime.
very very anime. Yeah,
All right, guys.
I
So
dug
what's
the
our
whole vibe of that game too.
what's our gut feeling on keeping a theater rhythm final bar line in here, especially if it means we're getting rid of, like, do we need just one League of Legends story? Is it weird to have both? Listen, they're very different games. If they didn't have the LOL tag on it, I would not think these were made by these were in the same universe whatsoever. I would have.
Right.
They're very
They do feel
different.
very different. Yeah.
They don't look or play similarly. There's not like, at least as far as I've gotten in the games, there's not overlapping stories or characters that are overt.
Yeah,
at least
it feels like Mage Seeker takes place a long time ago for some reason. That's just what in my head canon. And Convergence is more like right now in the Arcane time, even though it's younger Echo or whatever.
Well, I'm curious. The question I pose is, so if we're feeling kind of like unsure or icky or whatever, about theater rhythm, is there anything that is, quote unquote, traditionally indie that really should be on here and be acknowledged more so than?
I would say all of these that are currently on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to give that small little IP League of Legends a tap hit. No one's ever heard of it before.
You're so right. Same with like Warhammer 40K. It's like
same. Yeah. These small little IPs, no one's ever heard of. Yeah.
I was more so referring to anything on the left that you guys were like, well, like let's acknowledge this, but like, does anything on there actually deserve to really actually supersede Theater Rhythm because it is more traditionally a smaller, quote unquote indie game?
Good question.
Unless we're okay with Theater Rhythm being on there. I mean,
but we still have more than 10 over here. So, you know what I mean? So I don't know if we need to be looking at the other list if there's still like.
I don't think.
Yeah, if we removed Theater Rhythm, we would have 10.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know.
That was a question on top of the fact that you guys are talking about there being 2 League of Legends games too. So.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah.
I don't really care about there being 2 of the same franchise as long as the games are both good, and I think they both really are.
I think
a different kind
they're
of good.
Different enough,
Yeah, they're very different.
I haven't played either, so this is, y'all, y'all are gonna be beating the drum on that one.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about Mage Seeker being on the list if it's possible, and I really want Bolt Gun. Like if we don't have Turbo Overkill, we gotta have Bolt Gun just to kind of give that.
Yeah, I honestly thought Bolt Gun
feels so good.
So I think that's got to be on here. So that's 8. So it kind of comes down to these 3. My gut tells me, all right, Theater Rhythm, we're going to give it like hey, this is number 11 on our top 10. And we do consider it a small game, but maybe it's not in our top 10. I don't know. Kyle and Jeff, where would you rank this one out of all these?
Number 1. but again, I'm also self-admitting that it does feel kind of icky, but then I get in my head about like what we're celebrating 2 League of Legends games, which are gigantic, huge IPs also, and like
huge IP.
Where are we, drawing the line and what big and small is, and yada yada.
Theater Rhythm is number 2 for me, so you're not gonna hear me. You're not gonna hear me be like, get that crap out of here. It's
all right.
trash.
So then what gets kicked out? I mean, Jeff, you've played.
I barely Oxenfree 2 barely made the cut. Like, I mean, I really like that game, but like, it's my number 10. So,
all right.
Yeah.
And I think there's our 10. Not in the order, but that's 10 that we're going to be ranking. Now, Theater Rhythm's going to be at number 10. I think that's safe to say.
I think that's I think that's fair.
So that'll be at number 10.
You snuck on.
You snuck in there.
You got Trojan Horse stand, but you're going to 10. Yeah.
Super fun rhythm-based game with some of the best music in video game history. And they just do a great job with all the fan service. If you're even just a casual Final Fantasy fan, even if you're not, like I think it's a fun rhythm game, and I think you'll have a good time.
There's enough there too to like. There's more than just like. There's the meta game going on too with like leveling up your characters and equipping them with gear, and and like even though it ultimately doesn't really mean much, like it just I don't know. It adds kind of a meta game that makes it feel
unlocking new songs and new games and all.
Helps
that
you get a higher score. A lot of it helps you get a little higher score, but like only like by a little bit. Yeah. But if you add up that little bit and you're stacking great like gear and stuff, it matters, especially when on a higher difficulty. Yeah, I don't even care for the songs. I'm just here for the gameplay. No, imagine if I meant that.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know, man. The songs are okay. The gameplay though of pressing a button and maybe
I actually play the game on mute. I listen to a podcast and I just hit the buttons,
No, the music is it was for me. It was certainly an educational experience because I didn't, going through from the very beginning. I started with Final Fantasy 1. Like I started at the very beginning and hearing how that suite of music has evolved. All in one game.
That's so interesting. Playing it in order, you would have seen the progression of like chip tune to 16-bit music to like PS1 era, yada yada, all the way to full.
And you'd think one game would be like, I don't know if I like the music that much, but no, I hadn't like zero criticisms like at all.
Like, oh, it's perfect. My bad.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
perfection. The entire,
Right.
like, pretty much the entire series musically is.
Yeah,
You know.
Dan's really speaking some truths here. It's like it's some perfect music for sure.
All right, so
Uematsu, kind of talented.
Yeah, you know what? He's kind of okay at what he does.
I guess he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Should we leave one of the League of Legends games at 9 then, since we were debating whether or not to put him there?
I think that's fair. You know,
I think
one
Mage
being
Seeker's
at 9.
probably at 9.
Yeah, I feel much more stronger about how much I love Convergence.
Yeah,
than
same
Mage
here.
Seeker. But they're only like 3 spaces apart on my list, so
yeah,
not,
I think Convergence is a better
crazy
game.
far.
Not by, but that's also I just spent more time with it.
Yeah, same here.
I think it's safe to say we're gonna have a few that are living towards the top. I think things like Sea of Stars and Dave the Diver.
Dredge, yeah.
I don't know what. Yeah, it's Dredge. I don't know who else has played and loved it. Oh, you do, Kyle.
I played a few hours of that game. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So those are certainly in the top 5.
I hope Cocoon is, but that's just,
Cocoon was so good too.
Oh
so maybe okay. So now that we're naming
so much,
now that we're naming a few, maybe Talos Principle and Bramble belong in the bottom 5 somewhere.
Yeah, only because of lack of numbers,
So they're somewhere in these ranges. I just don't know exactly where yet. Okay, but they're somewhere in the bottom half. Okay.
Well, I think Bolt Gun might be 2 then. Maybe 5 or 6. I don't know.
Yeah, Bolt Gun's awesome. So I think you're right. It's right somewhere in the middle here.
Or actually, it might be Bramble, Bolt Gun, then Talos. Just because I'm the only one that like loves the crap out of Talos Principle.
So that one.
I mean, you guys understand the praise, but you haven't like played it yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Kyle, look at these two: Bramble and Warhammer, Bolt Gun. You've played both of these a bit. Which one kind of hit you more? Like, they're such different games. It's hard to compare.
Oh yeah, wow. I would
Bolt
say
Gun's
Bramble,
like this heavy metal. Like, let me shoot.
Bramble doesn't rely on like any sort of IP except for like Nordic folklore. So it's like I don't know. I feel like that had the harder line to toe, in terms of making an impression. And I would just want to say that game made an impression like immediately. It just felt kind of like Brothers or Tale of Two Sons, or something along those lines of just kind of like a walky, moody type of game.
Yeah.
And I really like that game a lot.
Yeah, I've got Bramble at number 4. It really got me. So I have it above Convergence, actually.
I have it at 7 apparently. I guess I hated it. No, I just had Talos Principle higher and Theater Rhythm higher, of course. So that.
Do you have Convergence higher than that one?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I think it's safe to put Bolt Gun at number 7 for now. And then so now we're looking at. It's probably.
I also had Dave the Diver higher, 1 slot higher than Bramble. So I totally get putting that really high. Totally get it.
So I think. And so, Jeff, let's talk about Cocoon real quick. I mean, we did talk about how cool this game was. It doesn't hold your hand at all. It doesn't even talk to you at all. This game has like there's no dialogue written or spoken at all in this game, unless I'm forgetting something.
No, you're right.
It just throws you in, and you're this weird little bug man who can like warp through these worlds, and then over time it becomes super complex, and like you're kind of within a world within a world within a world, but you can kind of also teleport back to that top world.
Yeah.
It gets real trippy. It's very, very smart.
You're doing such complex puzzle solving that you don't even know you're doing it until you pause to think about what you're doing, and then you're like, no, now I'm lost and overwhelmed. No.
Yeah.
So
you're like, I have to get the red
end.
orb over there. So if I go and set it inside the green universe,
and
then come out of the green universe and carry the green orb around, then that moves both of them with me. Like it's trippy.
Gosh. Yeah, it is. But the moment you try to explain it or think about it, it's like I don't understand what I'm doing.
Even saying it sounds so stupid.
Yeah. It's like a game that like I don't know, it makes the gamer inherently smarter because you're just following along with your controller like no big deal. But the minute you try to think about it or explain it, it's so complex what you're doing. God dang, that game is so freaking intelligent.
It's so good. I have it essentially in a tie with Convergence, and they're both just below Bramble. But the more we're talking about it, the more I'm like, I don't know, maybe it deserves to be just above those two. But I kind of have these. I do have these 3 grouped together personally.
Gotcha. I have Cocoon at 4.
Maybe it's just above Bramble.
It's just above Convergence for me, and Bramble.
Yeah. And then I don't want to pretend like these 3 are just automatic top 3. They might not be. One of the other ones could come above them. I just get the vibe that Sea of Stars and Dave the Diver are going to be fighting for 1 and 2.
Yeah.
At the top.
A fighting the sea. of stars.
Yeah, they will.
true.
They
It
technically
is,
they
yeah.
will. Yes.
I've got them at my 1 and 2, and it's very close. I didn't even get like a third of the way through Sea of Stars, and
No,
I
you did.
love that game.
And that's
Yeah,
so cool to
same.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm rooting hard for that game. If it takes 1 or 2, I mean that's where it probably belongs. So
I personally
Yeah,
have Dredge over these other 3, and here's all I'll say about it, because I think it's going to end up at 3 or 4 maybe. I have it above those because I do think it has a really creative world, and it somehow makes the idea of fishing and mixes this weird like seafaring horror story lore sort of in with fishing and exploring, and the nighttime is creepy. If you've ever played any kind of survival game where nighttime is gonna, like, whether it's Dying Light or Valheim or whatever, where nighttime is scarier and more dangerous, Dredge does a great job with that, and they make you start panicking if you're out at night for too long. So I think they do a brilliant job of that. Great upgrade system. I don't know. Dredge just, I played the demo and thought, this is okay. And then I got the real game and played it, and I was like, oh no, I love this. So I have it above these 3. And Kyle, I know you at least played Bramble of these 3. Do you prefer Dredge over?
Oh yeah.
That?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Dredge is just excellent. Yeah.
So it's likely at the top of this group of 4, I think. I could be wrong. Jeff, what do you think? Do you think Cocoon deserves to be above it, or Bramble even?
I do. I don't even have Dredge on my 10. It just I played like an hour of it, and I just wasn't vibing with it at the time.
You think the puzzles of Cocoon and like the design there just bumps it
Yeah,
up
something
for
about
you?
that game, I couldn't put it down the minute I started it. I played it for like 3 hours straight, and then I got stumped at one part, and I was like, okay, I'll come back to this. But like the fact that I couldn't put it down like immediately. It's not that it's a long game or anything. It's 4 hours, so it's not like I was so far from the ending. But with, I don't know, something about the pacing of Dredge, and like as soon as you say fishing, I immediately want to take a nap. I checked out City.
But Jeff, you already took a nap. You already took a nap.
I did. I took a coma earlier, so you'd think I would be napped out, but
it's coma.
You mentioned fishing, and I'm there. No, but I did like the vibes, and like the fact that I always felt this urgent need to go back to shore and do stuff before nightfall. Like I was just so creeped out at night, that they did such a good job of the atmosphere of the game. And I understand that there's like a story that involves at least one of 2 choices at the end, which is kind of cool that they did that. Because it didn't need to be that kind of game, so that's kind of cool that they did that.
So I know Kyle played Dredge, loved it. I played it and loved it. I have it barely over Cocoon. You played Cocoon and loved it, and I still have Cocoon up pretty high. So let's just see if there's a tiebreaker with the score. You guys are all seeing my full list here.
Yeah, I can see that. I would imagine
Cocoon probably got higher scores.
Cocoon's at 87, and Dredge, it's somewhere in the 80s. I thought there it is. It's at 82. So I think Cocoon needs to be just above it, just as a tiebreaker, because I don't know that we'll be able to really rank. It's gonna be hard to rank since we haven't all played all of them.
Right.
So let's put Cocoon just above it.
All right. Did we already say we're cool with Bramble being above Convergence? I just want to make sure that was.
I am. Yeah,
okay.
I've got it above it.
I thought I said I was cool with that too. I just didn't make sure. I just didn't know.
I know that Kyle played it and really enjoyed it as well. So I think it's.
Gotcha.
And I don't even think he finished it, but it was enough, right, Kyle, to like.
For which game?
For Bramble.
Yeah. I'm a real big fan of that game. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but we have Convergence above Bolt Gun. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so this is kind of like the.
That's all right.
3 through 6.
Cool.
That's what it's looking like.
Cool.
And then let's see, we got Sea of Stars and Dave the Diver. Again, weird games to compare. Outside of the fact that they're made by smaller teams, they're so different. And of course, Dave the Diver.
Other than the sea aspect, that's about it. Like
they both involve salt water. That's pretty much
pretty much. Yeah.
Both have really good retro style graphics.
Great retro style.
That's about it. Those are the parallels.
Yes.
I'm just annoyed for myself because I want to try Dave the Diver. Never mind, just because of everyone seeming to love it, but it just looks quirky and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Switch.
You'd really like it, dude.
That's such a switchy game, man, to pick up and play real quick. And it was just on sale for $15 like a week ago. So you can catch it on a sale at some point. And I highly suggest maybe playing it somewhere like there, because it just that feels like a game you can just pick up and put down.
At one point, CD Keys had it for pretty cheap. It might not be Oh, there it was.
I mean, it's not
only
expensive to begin with, right?
It's normally 30, I think.
Oh, is
or
it?
25
Okay.
or something.
Or 25. Yeah, it's somewhere up there. So anyway, CD Keys has it for pretty cheap right now. Anyway, so I do think all four of us have played at least a chunk of Sea of Stars and have it rated pretty high. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
I finished.
I think
I did
that
finish
like
it. Yeah.
I think everybody unanimously loves that one. Whereas like maybe most of us have played David Diver, but it's maybe just you and me, Tim, who like we're like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, it seems like Sea of Stars has to be number one.
I think it does too. I've got Sea of Stars as number 2, and Dave the Diver was my favorite small game of the year.
I can't wait for you to
play
eventually find time to beat that, because you're gonna.
All right, so
dude,
here's why
you're
Sea
gonna
of
crap
Stars
yourself.
is so high up there for me, even though I only essentially played the demo's worth of that game. I haven't gone back to it since then. I plan to, but I mean, it is such an homage to that 16/32-bit era of gaming, which was my immersion into the RPG experience. So like Chrono Trigger and the early, the Final Fantasies 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that realm. It feels like it's mostly Chrono Trigger, of course, which is it's one of those games that is either number 1 or 2 on my all-time list. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. It's between Chrono Trigger and Suikoden 2. I can never decide. Every week it's different, I feel like. But this game is right. It feels like it is a love letter to those style of games, which are my favorites. So
it's literally
everything about it I love. I just haven't spent time with it like I needed to.
It's literally Chrono Trigger and like Super Mario RPG had a baby. Like and like that's amazing. Like
totally amazing.
Yeah. You have like one of like the usually people consider one of the greatest RPGs of all time, Chrono Trigger, and then just like one of the most like charming like Mario games that's not like a traditional Mario game.
We had never seen anything like that with Mario before, right? With Mario RPG, it was
and crazy. That combat is not very like. There's not a ton of games that did actually do that. I mean, other games did end up doing that combat, but it's not common either. That sort of interactive, like in the middle of a fight type of combat, which like agreed. I'm just shocked that more didn't do that, because I think it like would have been the next sort of evolution of turn-based games. But
yeah, right.
I agree. Yeah, I think this is our 10 based on what we're saying too.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's 2024. I'm trying to be a better listener this year, guys. I'm trying. So I'm trying to hear what you're all saying, and I know that Jeff and I have played. Jeff's probably played the most of these games. I'm probably second. Kyle's probably third, and we know Dan's fourth. That's for sure. Just in terms of like how many of these we tried, but I feel like this is a pretty good representation of us as a podcast, our top 10.
Yeah.
And
look at
combination of what we played and how much we enjoyed them.
We definitely. It all speaks to how good the year was overall. I mean, for the indie games to deliver this hard, look at everything that's left in consideration.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I haven't even played like some of those, but at least half of the ones over there that I did play could have been in the 10 as well. Like, I mean, they're just so good. But yeah, a good Great. Year overall, even with indie games.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, here's our top 10 best small game of 2023. Starting at number 10, it's Theatrhythm Final Bar Line, Mage Seeker League of Legends Story, Talos Principle 2. That's at number 8. Number 7 is Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun. Number 6 is Convergence, a League of Legends story. Number 5 is Bramble the Mountain King. Number 4 is Dredge. Number 3 is Cocoon. Number 2 is Dave the Diver. And number 1, Sea of Stars. I can, outside of Talos Principle 2, I can recommend all these games. I need to play Talos before I can recommend it. I haven't played it, so I can't recommend it. But I think as a group, we can recommend all of these. They're all so good. So go check those out. Awesome year for small games. And it's funny because this is one of the biggest years of small games getting overshadowed by all the major releases that happened across all platforms.
They really have. Like, I mean, there was no room for any of these in the
That's
Game
why
Awards
I didn't play many at all this year.
It's one of the easiest years to miss them. Yeah.
Because I was just busy with every game, every month there was a new like 40+ hour game, and it's just like
it's just disrespectful, honestly. That's just rude.
It really is. Yeah.
It's just rude. Yeah.
So inconsiderate.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, well, that's good. That's our best small game of the year.